For many urban Indians, banking is a privilege which is getting easier by the day as it moves from bank branches to ATMs to internet and even mobiles. But this advantage is not for all. Only 35% of people in our country have formal bank accounts. This is in sharp contrast to the global average of 50%, and it is even lower than the average of other developing countries, which stands at 41%. Around 600 million people living across 6 lakh villages have no or remote access to banks. This makes it tough for money to reach those who need it the most. Government grants and allocations are unable to help our poor as they live closer to poverty and far away from banks.
We hardly have bank branches in about 5 to 10% of the villages. This makes it very difficult. And you know that more than 50% of the population do not have any regular bank account.
As a result, crores of government money in the form of subsidies and payments is waiting for the rightful owners to collect them.
People will not lose time in going to a bank or waiting for a bank branch, etc. So that's loss of a day. To go to a bank about 10 kilometers for a rural person will be losing wage for a day. So that's not acceptable.
Distance from banks, paperwork and waiting has forced many farmers into the hands of pawnbrokers and money lenders. Why can't banks reach out to these villagers? Reasons are many. For one, banks cannot open as many branches across our vast country. That would require huge investments in the form of bank branches, staff and utilities.
You have 6 lakh villages, there is no way that you can establish viable, sustainable 6 lakh brick and mortar branches. But you have to use other innovative methods. That's where technology helps.
Innovations did come and technology did help in the form of smart cards. Before the technology came Reserve Bank of India's guidelines for business correspondents in 2006. Business correspondents are entities that represent banks and travel the extra mile that bank branches cannot. We shall find out how business correspondents and biometric smart cards are helping the poorest of poor. Our first stop is Andhra Pradesh, a state which is one of the first to adopt this model using EBT or Electronic Benefit Transfer method to disburse cash for Social Security pension schemes and Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme or MGNREGS. About 14 kilometers from Karimnagar district, a part of Telangana region of the state, lies this village of Munjampalli. Here Rajeshwari Katraya Mallu is in dire need of money. She has been tending to her disabled husband for the past 8 years. Her husband fell from a palmyra tree while drawing sap from it, a profession that sustains many lives in this village.
He lost sensation in his hands as well. His eyes don't work, neither do his legs. He is bedridden. I bathe and feed him.
Rajeshwari cannot go to the bank to collect the money that is allocated to her by the government under Social Security pension scheme. She cannot even go to work.
I can't go to work as he is on the bed. I have to work around him, feed and clean him and look after him.
But a smart card has changed all that. A CSP or customer service point employed by a business correspondent called Bandhu now comes to her doorstep to pay her money every month. And along with her, as many as 336 pensioners in her village get their money between the 1st and the 5th of every month.
Since the last 4 years, we are getting only 500 rupees per month.
Yadamma and Satama also use the card and come to collect money from the office once every month. Both of them are widows and are allocated 200 rupees every month under the Social Security pension scheme.
This pension is like our hope. We can buy grains and cooking oil. It won't go waste. I came all the way in the rain for the pension. That is the kind of life we live. Even if it is 200 rupees, it is necessary. I keep waiting for every 1st of the month for the money.
Delivery of cash to rural areas is increasingly being aided by self-help groups and also by organizations like FINO that employ a novel business correspondent model or the BC model. In Andhra Pradesh, they are one of the leading business correspondent entities that distribute cash under pension scheme and MGNREGS through their network of agents called Bandhus. FINO services over 50 million customers countrywide through 30,000 agents. In Andhra Pradesh, the organization reaches out to over 10 million government beneficiaries through a network of close to 10,000 Bandhus.
We will engage the customer by giving the agent a small handheld device which he can carry around, which will be charged or which will run on batteries because power in the villages may not be available, and which will be offline because connectivity in the villages is not assured. To the customer, we will give a smart card which will carry the fingerprints of the customer to validate that he is the right customer, because he is an illiterate customer, cannot sign, and carry all the records or all the products that the customer has with the system on the card.
The smart card, which contains biometrics data and personal information of the card holder and also geographical data, reduces time required to dispense cash. It also ensures that the money reaches to the right person, thereby cutting down fraud.
Because of card payments, those who are entitled get the money. Now we cannot give without the card.
Andhra Pradesh also uses the smart card system to dispense wages from MGNREG scheme, also called 100 Days Work Guarantee Scheme for unskilled labourers. The scheme, which started 6 years back, has taken some time to trickle down. Payment for the work done used to be distributed at a much later date through traditional payment methods like the post office.
Already what we are seeing is this system has delivered great value on the ground. And giving you a small example, when we started in the state of Andhra Pradesh, the NREGA wages amount was 80 rupees. Private sector was paying to these poor people less than 80 rupees. They were quite happy to work for that amount because the payment by the government was neither assured. Nobody knew if they work today, when will they get the money. While for the poor person, receiving money at the end of the day was far more important.
Labourers are used to a daily wage system where they get paid at the end of the day. After payments became regular with the smart card method, enrollment into the scheme has increased. It is now over 10 million people. Currently, it pays 131 rupees per day with assured work for 100 days every year. Gurusarla Sailu's life has changed after he started working under the scheme. He now earns around 600 rupees per week, all thanks to MGNREGS.
Earlier, we did not have much work. Ever since the 100-day scheme came in, we get work. We fill mud in rivers, chop wood, dig canals and do all the work.
Employment opportunities in villages are limited to seasonal agricultural activity. One of the blessings of the MGNREG scheme has been the employment generation throughout the year, with work like clearing shrubs, chopping wood and laying roads. The payment is on time too, thanks to the BC model taking roots in these villages.
Before the card, they would make us wait and stand. After we got this card, we go and get our money ourselves.
If all the members of Sailu's family manage to find work, the average monthly earnings of his family can go over 4,000 rupees per month.
MGNREGA has definitely transformed because it's a right, it's an entitlement. It's not somebody's mercy that they are getting work now. So as a legal entitlement, they are getting 100 days of work. So that's why there is assured work for them. So their incomes definitely have gone up. So this will have strong bearing on nutrition, their health status, that the money will flow for their children's education.
But will merely paying out government subsidies to villages result in financial inclusion? Can these bandhus travelling from remote areas achieve more than delivering money? the heart of this massive revolution, sweeping across the hinterlands, are these bandhus. Many of these bandhus have been selected from various self-help groups operating across the villages. Appointed by business correspondent entities, these bandhus play a critical role in disbursing money from the government to the rural poor. Government transfers subsidy payouts to banks. Technology service providers like Fino collect money from the district cash chest of banks. The money is then carried to Mandal coordinators, who give it to CSPs or bandhus, who distribute it to the beneficiaries.
So this customer service provider, she inserts the beneficiary card into the POS machine, retrieves the balance, makes a payment, and this POS machine generates a printout. This printout is given to the beneficiary as a token of payment along with the cash.
These humble payments cover 10 million wage seekers with one payment a week, amounting to 40 million payments a month in Andhra Pradesh. Additionally, 7 million pensioners are paid every month as well. Every mandal has 5,000 pensioners and 10,000 to 15,000 wage seekers with only 1 or 2 bank branches. The amounts paid are also staggering. While 40,000 crore rupees is the country's budget for MGNREGS in Andhra Pradesh, the spending is about 4,000 crore rupees per year, and pension payments amount to 2,400 crore rupees.
It is a huge money. Not all the rural branches have that kind of cash limit. Most rural branches have 1 or 2 lakhs of cash limit. They can't provide these many payments.
It is not just rural poor, but urban poor are also being served by business correspondents. Not many banks would open savings accounts for pensioners whose only transaction is to collect rupees 200 every month, making this bandhu model a cost-effective and convenient approach.
This way of collecting money is helpful. For just rupees 200, it is too much work for banks.
The popularity of business correspondent model has called for expanding their network. The country currently has around 1 lakh business correspondents, and experts say that the number should increase to 10 lakhs.
We need to do capacity building of the business correspondents. So I think that's it's an opportunity for people also to probably get employed, because the country needs more than 1 million business correspondents. So they need to be full-time, they should be individual, as we go forward, and they should be compensated well.
High pressure on few days of work when money is to be distributed is not very efficient use of the bandhu network as well as its infrastructure.
We are wanting digitally a large amount of money to flow to the end beneficiary in a very short span of time, typically 3 to 4 days. When we try to do this, the cash in the system goes up dramatically. So it's a peaking load problem. Right? 4 days is heavy cash movement, then it's dead.
As systems have to handle the peak load, they have to be designed to handle the peak capacity, requiring huge investments. The systems could be better utilized if more schemes and products can leverage the same architecture. Government is contemplating converting non-cash subsidies like kerosene and LPG and other agricultural subsidies into cash subsidies, which is transferred directly to bank accounts, which will travel via business correspondents. The system is expected to handle as much as 3 lakh crores in subsidies.
More and more services will be routed through BCs later on. Payments are also happening, so the idea is to increase number of more transactions also.
The task before the government and the banking sector is to not only facilitate one-way transfer of pensions and other social benefits, but also help these beneficiaries join the larger financial ecosystem with access to loans and insurance. Banks are already extending need-based credit in small amounts to MGNREGS workers. In the coming days, business correspondent model could be leveraged to extend such loans to MGNREGS as well as agricultural beneficiaries.
9 crore farmers are there. They officially say that there are only 2 crore Kisan Credit Cards. 2 crore, when they say, it's only a number. So definitely all are not active accounts actually.
Government is also looking to give life and health insurance cover, and discussions are on to extend rural Swasthya Bima Yojana to MGNREGS and non-MGNREGS workers. Andhra Pradesh already operates an Arogya Kesari scheme.
We are in the process of engaging some of the business correspondents for selling insurance also, because that is one of the agendas of the government, that these business correspondents should also be selling insurance. The only problem in insurance is the person selling insurance should be actually selling the right product. So there should not be a mis-selling.
The savings of self-help groups of women could be another opportunity for BCs.
Near about 1 crore rural women are organized into self-help groups. They save, each individual saves at least 100 rupees per month. And they have accumulated near about 10,000 crores as corpus.
As BC footprint expands further and the government payments surge, a typical Bandhu would be carrying lakhs of rupees versus few thousands now. And that could expose the Bandhus to the risks that come with more money.
There will be risks involved, but very few risks are there. Very few incidents are there. Fairly, they have done a very good job.
So banks have to be vigilant. They have to always monitor, and also they have to do their own homework. There is no escape from this.
I can move 1 lakh rupee through a person carrying on a bike. If I try to move 10 lakh rupee through a person on a bike, I am prone to more risk. And since it is operations, some amount of normal failures or losses will happen.
Such operational hazards call for new ideas, like the need to insure money being carried by the Bandhus. This may require a new working relationship between the banks and the business correspondent, as the insurance aspect incurs certain costs. What's in store after smart cards for the poor? Is financial inclusion only about disbursement of government pensions and opening of bank accounts? There are new ideas and innovations to take the financial inclusion to the next level. While there is enormous pressure on the government to do more, the government also has to ensure that a good part of the public money goes to productive use and creates new assets. It is with this objective that the government has launched the National Rural Livelihoods Mission. Already 1 year old, this initiative focuses on making the poor rural youth employable through skill training and polytechnic courses.
We have a huge population of rural youth waiting for opportunities. So we have two aspects. One is productive employment, that is skill-based employment also can be generated. You skill them and also place them in various industries or enterprises. That is one way of looking at it. So youth get trained and placed in various enterprises.
The rural youth is not looking for pension benefits, but access to loans and insurance to give shape to their dreams and skills. And this calls for taking the financial inclusion movement to the next level.
We think this movement will continue and in fact gain more and more momentum. Governments will leverage this architecture to deliver all benefits to the end citizen. There is already a view which has been taken at a national level to say all non-cash subsidies will also be converted to cash and all cash will be credited into a bank account, and a business correspondent network will be used to pay out the subsidies to the end beneficiary. Second, we expect lending as a product. While currently, it is being delivered either through a bank branches or through partnerships with institutions like MFIs, that will move from branch or MFIs to this kind of a network, a business correspondent network, wherein the risk will stay on the bank books and the servicing or the sourcing the customer and servicing will happen through a business correspondent network. Third, what we expect is large amount of cross-sell to happen. Currently, the customer has been sourced for one or the other product under financial inclusion as defined by saving, loan, remittance, insurance and say electronic benefit transfer. Customer, if he has been acquired for product A, will be now given product B, C and D. So we expect product richness to start coming into the system, wherein bank will also start distinguishing between a supplier who can give a rich product delivery versus a supplier who can only do a limited set of jobs for the bank, and as a result the activity level or the profitability of the bank doesn't really stack up.
Now we have some couple of initiatives. One is the web aggregators, that is people who aggregate and tell you, compare insurance products. We are trying to regulate them so that they give proper information to the market. So these are some of the initiatives IRDA is taking in enabling people to know about insurance, and then we also regulate the kind of advertisements being made by companies when they sell products.
Ultimately, it could be mobile, ultimately. So, we have to go, as I said, one of the broad technology trends that is taking place globally, we can't be no exception. Almost you can have the entire bank on the mobile as we go forward. And then there is already a strong base of mobiles. It's only a question of putting banking applications which are secured.
Vision is actually the system has come of age, and it is also coming up for huge transformation because the prestigious UID project is there. Now with the UID project, we have to take it further forward. I am expecting that the quality of service will be enhanced if we go with the Aadhaar enabled payment system.
Any program or initiative of government to succeed, the capacity is the prerequisite. Without that, actually the implementation will suffer. That has been the experience. So when Government of India has launched so many programs like MGNREGA, National Rural Livelihoods Mission, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, rural electrification, drinking water, sanitation. So many programs are happening. But at the field level, at the cutting level, at where the implementation level, the capacities are so important.
The story of Andhra Pradesh is only the first of the many such initiatives across the country. In our next feature episode, we'll find out about the financial inclusion movement touching the lives of people in our capital, New Delhi. But before that, next week, we'll have policy makers, regulators and business leaders showing us the way forward in our financial inclusion journey in Andhra Pradesh.